Good morning. I am Rabbi Steven Moskowitz of Congregation Lador Vador, and this is Monday Musings, in which I offer a spiritual reflection to kickstart the week. My hope is that these reflections can offer strength during these weeks and months of isolation. I have been meditating for these past weeks on prayer and the meaning of prayer. In the first session, I spoke with my brother, Rabbi Michael Moskowitz, and we spoke about prayer and the difficulty of praying when you are leading prayer in particular. In the second session, I explored my favorite prayer, if I'm allowed to say that, Elohai Neshama, a prayer that we say in the morning. We thank God for the gift of our soul in that prayer. And last week, I met with my good friend, Pastor Nathan Hart, and we explored some of the differences between Christian and Jewish prayer. We discovered some similarities as well. I spoke in particular about the need for prayer to be about thanks. I believe the central idea of Jewish prayer is that we say thank you to God, even if we're not 100% sure that we feel it. We fill our hearts with thanks in order to fortify ourselves and to make us stronger. The Jewish theory is the soul that is filled with thanks is more apt to do good. It's going to be grateful for what it has. And so today I'd like to meditate and share some reflections on a beautiful psalm, Psalm 92 in particular. Psalm 92 is part of our Shabbat prayer services. Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbat, a song for the Sabbath day. The Psalms are 150 poems from the Hebrew Bible, beautiful poems, rich in imagery, and I often turn to them at difficult times and as well at times when I'm filled with happiness because I just love the poetry of the Psalms. And so Psalm 92 begins with these words. Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbat, a psalm for the Sabbath day. Tov lahodot l'Adonai. It is good to give thanks to God. It's good to say thank you. I mean, who would disagree with that premise? And if we say thank you to God, as I said, we are more apt to just approach the day with measures of gratitude and thankfulness. Ulezamer l'shimcha elyon, and it's wonderful to sing to God's lofty name. It's even better than saying thank you. In the Jewish contention is to sing with our congregation, to sing together as one voice. L'hagid baboker chasdecha, and to proclaim God's chesed, God's loving kindness in the morning, and God's faith in the evening. These are the opening lines of the words of the psalmist. Every evening, the hope is that we'll go to sleep with that measure of emunah, of faith. So the psalmist continues. Towards the end of this psalm, Psalm 92, Tzadik katamar yifrach. The righteous will flower like date palms. They will grow mighty like cedars in Lebanon, planted in the house of Adonai. They will flower in the courtyards of our God, and they will still bear fruit in old age, remaining vigorous and fresh, proclaiming that you are trustworthy, that you are my rock, and on that I can rely. God is often seen and described as a tzur, a rock, something that is solid, that we can hold on to, and something that is unwavering in offering us strength. But the most beautiful image to me is this notion of the righteous will flower like date palms, Tzadik katamar yifrach. And having worked in the date fields in Kibbutz Lotan in the Negev desert, I can tell you they are difficult trees. You have to do something every single season, but yet they thrive in the harshness of the desert. You have to make sure they have a little bit of water at their roots, and they will produce beautiful, wonderful fruit, even into their old age. But the most important message that the psalmist is reminding us of is that righteousness requires work. It requires constant attention. Every season, every moment, you have to tend to this. It's not something that you do occasionally to do righteousness, to do good. It's something that must be done constantly. I've been reflecting on this image, in particular, in terms of the image, what we're seeing in terms of our cities. Our cities are burning. There's rioting, there are protests. We mourn the loss of life. We mourn especially the loss of George Floyd at the hands of police officers. We mourn the fact that people of color suffer police violence and injustices. Our society is beset by racial injustices. And this is what we are suffering from. People of color are more apt to become sick or to die from COVID. These injustices should not stand. And perhaps our small answer, one small answer, is given to us by the psalmist. Lahagid baboker chastecha. To begin the morning and proclaim, I'm going to do chesed. I'm going to do good. I'm going to bring a measure of loving kindness to the world today. That is the object every single day. And perhaps if we did that, just did that small thing, there would be less injustice. And perhaps then we could go to sleep with that emunah, that sense of faith that the psalmist talks about. L'hagid baboker chastecha, to begin the morning and say, today I'm going to do good.